to gamble. Don't listen to your parents. Got an extra $10. You go out there and put it on the Rams tonight. Love the Rams tonight. I'm fired up to watch that show. Greg Jennings around the corner. So when it comes to football, teams will tell you what they think of their quarterback. They'll tell you. You just have to pay attention. So I'm watching Mitch Trubisky last night. Now, the coach of the Bears now is Matt Nagy. That's an Andy Reid guy. Andy Reid scripts plays, his first 10 plays. Matt Nagy scripted plays for Mitch Trubisky. And he was like 7 for 7, opening drive. He looks great. And there's nothing wrong with scripting plays. Trubisky looked very good in the first half because you can script a lot of the first half. But in the second half, with a lead, they got really conservative. They would not take the little floaties off his arm in the pool. It was like, okay, let's do these plays. Let's throw underneath. That tells you what the Bears think about Mitch Trubisky. He's limited. By the way, Alex Smith under Andy Reid was great in the first half, 99 quarterback rating. But in the second half under Andy Reid, Alex Smith was not as good. The passing yards went down in the second half. His TD interception ratio was not nearly as good, and his passer rating went down. Because Alex Smith, very coachable, was a tremendous first-half quarterback. But in the second half, it's about, okay, you got to go off script a lot. How much talent do you have? That's where Aaron Rodgers flourishes. And if you look at Rodgers and Trubisky in the fourth quarter, and by the way, it's not like Mitch Trubisky. Aaron was playing on one leg in the fourth. Trubisky was healthy. And look at their numbers. That's the difference. Trubisky was great with scripted plays. Then he had a passer rating of 53 in the fourth quarter. And by the way, playing with a lead in the fourth quarter. So Aaron's playing from behind. The Bears' defense is better than Green Bay. The Bears know Aaron Rodgers has to throw. Off script, Aaron's great. In fact, you could argue the problem with Aaron, he's not always great on script. He ad-libs out of script. But Aaron shows you what coaches are looking for. I'll make scripts early, then you do your stuff later. Trubisky, the minute he's off script, they got super conservative. They don't trust him. They're telling you that as a staff. We've had him here for a year. We don't trust him in big spots to make the throws down the field. We think he's limited. That offense is mostly a college offense. And I saw this yesterday with the New York Giants. The New York Giants are telling you what they think about Eli Manning. Just pay attention. Number one is they spend a ton of money on Nate Solder at left tackle. They draft an offensive lineman. They use their second pick on a running back, of which there were 9 good ones in the draft. There were 20 running backs drafted overall. So there were plenty of running backs. They went out and got one. Then they paid a fortune for a perimeter player, Odell Beckham, who's been hurt 17 times in 4 years. The Giants are telling you Eli's limited. They're telling you. I mean, the Giants are telling you. What do they do all offseason? Left tackle, draft the guard, running back, pay a fortune for a sometimes emotionally inconsistent and physically inconsistent wide receiver who's a small perimeter player. So when I watch the Bears, they're telling you what they think of Trubisky. They don't trust him. They're not taking those floaties off. They don't trust him in the pool by himself. They just don't. That's with a lead. And the Giants are telling you what they think of Eli Manning. Man, he needs a lot of help. He needs a lot of help. And that's why I've said in this league is once you get the quarterback right, just pay him whatever. Just figure it out. Just pay him whatever. But I think in the Giants' case, they know they got a shot fighter. That's why they're spending all this money on left tackles. That's why they're taking running backs with a number 2 pick in a draft that had 20 drafted running backs. And that's why they signed Odell Beckham. Because they know without Odell, Eli's not really a starting quarterback in the league. Joy Taylor with the news.
No.
Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
Speaking of quarterbacks that should not be starting in the league, Nathan Peterman, or Nathan Pearlman, whatever you prefer, has struggled a little bit in his time with Buffalo. He had 5 picks in the first half against the Chargers last season. And the Bills still felt confident enough to trade away Tyrod Taylor and go with Peterman as their number 1 quarterback this season. And to no one's shock, the Bills got just what they asked for with a disaster. Peterman managed 5 completions on 18 attempts in total, just 24 yards.
That was awful.
Miraculously, Sean McDermott is still not sure, though.
The game got away from us
because of a series of plays early in the game, be it the first or second quarter, and then right before half as well. But we got to go back and look at the film and be critical and be objective of what we were doing.
Yes, it got away from you a little bit there. Let's take a look at Nathan Peterman's career stats as a starter, shall we? He started 3 games, completion percentage 38.1%, 49 yards per game. Touchdown interception ratio is pretty good there, 1-7. His passer rating is 16.8, and he has yet to finish a game.
I feel, I don't mind being critical of quarterbacks when they're competent. I don't like being critical of quarterbacks when it's sad.
Well, this is not Nathan Peterman's fault.
I know, but it's just that looked like a college offense against an NFL defense.
But it's not Nathan Peterman's fault. They had Tyrod Taylor. They hadn't went to the playoffs in how many years?
Yeah, the Buffalo Bills yesterday, it's fairly clear that Tyrod Taylor wasn't their problem.
Right.
he was not your problem.
That was truly not the root of your issues.
Yes.
Yeah, that was something else yesterday. But it did make your Ravens' confidence look very good. I don't know if you consider that
I'm 2-2 on my Blazing 5. I have the Jets in 6.5. There was only one game yesterday I knew I would win. Baltimore minus a touchdown at home against Buffalo. Buffalo's just offensively, I'm not joking when I say this. There are college offenses right now that have several players that could start for Buffalo. It's a really bad offense.
That was really bad. So Aaron Rodgers put on his inner Iron Man last night, or Jon Snow, back from the dead, whatever you want to call it. After leaving with a knee injury and getting on the cart, he came back to lead the Packers to an amazing comeback. And he also had this great quote after the game.
This is what we're paid to do. We're paid to deal with injuries and play through them. That's the measure of a teammate, is what are you willing to put on the line for your team.
He is getting, I think, $80 million guaranteed.
And he deserves every penny of it.
He does. That might be a little motivation for him to get back out there. Although, obviously, if he was physically incapable of being back out there, it's a season-ending injury. I don't think he would. But he was clearly in pain.
Oh, God, yeah.
And clearly in a situation where I honestly believe if that contract hadn't just happened, they may have been like,
Yeah,
let's just be a little cautious.
It was
here.
funny because the announcers, Al and Chris, last night were like, "Do you put him back in if it's?" And I'm like, "No, Aaron can score." Like, did anybody doubt watching that game? McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers, they were like 4 minutes in the game before he took the last drive, and they were on the side. McCarthy never smiles on the sideline, and McCarthy and Aaron, something they said, they started laughing, and I'm like, "That's because everybody in the building knows this is what Aaron does." One leg or not. This is, and Khalil Mack, by the way, was gassed by that point.
Right.
So he wasn't the factor he was in the first half.
I don't know, though. I mean, Khalil Mack had the greatest game by a defensive player
ever. Best half ever, tied for the best game ever, and tied with him.
Tied with himself.
Yeah.
It's a little motivation to maybe just make sure he's 100% okay. But I'm sure we'll get more information on what happened to him today. So Nick Saban loves rewriting the record books. After beating Arkansas State over the weekend, they remain the top team in the nation, which means the Crimson Tide have now been ranked number 1 during 106 different weeks in the 82-year history of the Associated Press poll. That means they passed Ohio State for the most of all time.
Yeah, and it's not slowing down.
No, and it was a pretty good weekend. Clemson, A&M game was great.
Yeah, that was a crazy game.
You were right about Stanford, USC.
Yes, LSU Auburn play this weekend. That'll be very good.
You also mentioned Arizona State.
Yeah, Arizona State was fun. I watched a little bit of that and then had to go to bed. Yeah,
and then Kentucky beat Florida.
That was a shocker.
Yes,
but Florida's got a brand new coach. First year for any new coach. Pass. I don't want to bang on. Just let's slow down.
No need to bang on them, but it's still a good program, and it's a good win by Kentucky.
Huge win by Kentucky. Yeah. Joy with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Line
Dollar
News.
Shave Club Amazing Shower Gel.